You've heard the rule. If you stay visible, you stay top of mind. But you are dead quiet. You've been wanting to start a newsletter, or you've got a list and it hasn't heard from you in months, and you know it matters because it's the thing that fills next month's pipeline, but you skip it because doing it right eats half a day. You need to do a blog post, an email, and something for LinkedIn, all from a blank page. And honestly, it's a nightmare. Mine used to sit dead for weeks too. Let us put a number on it. Email could pay you back about $40 for every dollar you put in. It beats your ads, it beats your SEO, and it's the highest return channel you own, but it's also the one you ignore. So today we're gonna fix that. You start with one question, and out comes a published blog post, an email to your list, and a LinkedIn article, and it only takes you a few minutes longer than the time it took to write it. And today we're gonna build this system with AI, starting from scratch. I'll show you my finished system first, and then we're gonna go through building it together piece by piece. And by the end, after you've written the blog post, publishing only takes a few more minutes, not your whole Sunday. Before we get into the build, it's only a few inputs and 4 steps. First, you'll need to talk to Claude Code, but a normal Claude chat can work too. 2 is you're gonna need some information about your business, who you help, what you sell, and how you sound. 3 is one question your audience actually asks. That's the raw material and the whole input. And then 4 steps. You're gonna turn that question into an angle, then you're gonna write the blog post as it's the piece everything points to, and then you're gonna split it into an email and a LinkedIn article to get more awareness in other places. You're gonna publish it and it's live. And a quick hello if we haven't met, I'm Jonathan. I build AI operating systems for coaches and consultants, so the admin runs itself and they get back to the clients. And this newsletter system isn't a theory. I created one for my own business, and I'm writing one a month. And it's gonna be the same steps that you're about to watch. So this is where we're gonna end up. This month for June, I started with one question. You can see it on the screen. And that is, will using AI to run my coaching business make me lose the personal touch my clients pay for? And so I asked Claude to write me an outline of the different items to cover in the blog. You can see each paragraph title that I got. So why does fear feel so real right now? What are your clients actually paying you for? Where should AI never touch the relationship? What should AI run instead? So on and so forth. And so all I did was take each question and actually just answer them out in a few paragraphs. Once you have the full blog written, AI can reference and modify it slightly to better adapt to other places. So next is my email list. I've connected it to Kit or ConvertKit and made it format a whole email out. Now this is much shorter, as you can see, but it's actually using words that I actually wrote in the original blog post. And then it links to the full blog post, which would take me here. And thirdly is the LinkedIn article. And again, this is more of a longer one, has a similar questions, but it's slightly shorter, so it's easier to read on LinkedIn. But again, it's also the words that I actually typed, and rather than making anything up, I told it explicitly to only take from the original blog post and modify very little. So after writing the whole blog post, I have it ready for 3 different placements from one question in one sitting. Now let's get on to building it. Firstly is the context file. Most people skip this part, and it's why their AI can't really help them with their blog posts. You type me, help me with a newsletter about leadership, and you get something true, but it's generic and it's dead on the page. It's gonna give you generic answers that sound like everyone, and it won't help you sound like you. So the fix is one file. I hand Claude a page about the business before it writes a word, and we get something like this. You can see some demo data about Dana Lewis Coaching, and so it explains who they are, who they serve, what they're struggling with, offer, voice, what I want every piece of content to do, and their links. And so looking at what's in here, AI can see who she helps, which is first-time VPs, first 18 months in, how she wants it to sound, short sentences, no jargon, never synergy. She tells it what she wants every piece to do, which is make a new leader feel seen. And you write this once so AI can reuse it forever. And you put this file in the system and the prompts point at it. Now, the next step is getting a question and turning it into an angle. You could write about delegation forever and say nothing. The trick is to answer one exact question the way your client would actually type it. So we're gonna go over to my Claude here. We're gonna take a look at my /ideate. I'm gonna do /ideate newsletter, which should help me get ideas for my next month's newsletter. And so while it's going, we can see some of its thinking. I found an important catch of last month's theme. You can see losing the personal touch, which is the thing we covered last month. So we're gonna let it continue and see what it comes up with this time. So it came back and we can see what it's picked. We can go through each idea. We see number 1 says, which AI tools do I actually need to run my coaching business? Gives me some info on the ICP. Has a why now section on research it did, saying this is the loudest signal in the research, and has an AEO angle as well. You can go through a little more of these. How do I get more coaching clients with AI without sounding like a spammer? Is this safe to put my client information into AI tools like ChatGPT? How do I use AI to write my content so it still sounds like me? And we can go and we can see a few more. Then it gives me recommendations. Its read is 1, 2, 3 are the strongest. Number 1 being the most on brand with the AIOS thesis. Number 2 hits the highest value pain, which is lead gen, and with the best stats there. And number 3 owns an AEO gap that nobody's currently filling. And so we can take one of these. Let's take number 1, for example. We're going to run /newsletter develop. I'm going to just type 1 there, and it's going to start actually taking this original question and turning it into a full angle to write about. And so it comes back with a whole bunch of stuff we can look at to actually start writing the full newsletter, but also it starts with the AEO citable hook, gives me those questions, includes my CTA with my link, some citable sources ready to go, and it talks about the angle down here. And so the angle from the question sounds like just give me a shopping list, but the actual angle here is the honest answer. Flips it. You don't need more tools. You need a system pointed at your biggest time drains. And then it lets me go into my AIOS thesis without pitching it, pairs naturally with the next step after my last month's personal touch piece. And then it gives me one judgment call. I kept the coaching business as the H1, but the body uses coach-led examples, but is asking me if I just want to apply it to general entrepreneurs. And so I can just type yes, give me the sub questions and direct answer in a markdown file that I can edit to write the full newsletter. And so that will go and start me off and give me something to use, ready to start writing in. Once this is ready, I'll be able to start writing the newsletter, which is the next part we're going to get into. But before we keep going, if this has been useful, please hit subscribe. I post regular builds like this every Tuesday and Friday. So step 2, the big one, is writing the actual blog post. It's the canonical piece that everything's going to build from today. And so every copy that isn't the original thing points back to this one. So if we go over to Claude Code, we can see the draft that it laid out for me here. See the original questions, which tools do I actually need to run my coaching business? And so it has that AEO 100-word thing, and then gives me a whole bunch of questions to start writing. The first thing to notice are H1, the header. The answer to this is the actual start of the newsletter. We can read this out. AI wrote this for us to guide us in our answers, but let's take a look here. Which AI tools do I actually need to run my coaching business? Fewer than you think. The honest answer is not a list of tools. It's a short stack of 3 to 5, each one pointed at a task that eats away your week. The average small business runs about 5, but most pick them tool first and use barely half of them. If you start the other way around, name the job that costs you the most hours, and then one tool that does it, then add the next when the last one is working. The tools matter less than whether they connect into one system, and that system, not the app count, is what gives you your week back. This is the essentially, or the TLDR of the full newsletter, and then you can go in and start answering all these questions in full multi-paragraph sections. The reason it does this is because it's for AEO, and so somebody will see this blurb here and be more inclined to click to read the full thing. It matters more than it used to because nearly half of all searches end with no click. People read the answer on the results page, or they ask ChatGPT, and they never actually see your site at all. And so if your answer is buried 6 paragraphs in, you don't get quoted. Answer it first means you're the one all the other AIs repeat. Now for the body, we can see each H2 here. Reading through this question, why do most coaches end up with too many AI tools and what it quietly costs? Gives you a core point to talk about. Problem is not too little AI, it's too much. Bought the wrong way. Coaches buy tool first instead of leading with the problem first. So the tool stack grows, but the week doesn't get lighter. We're gonna name that trap by field, 12 tabs open, 3 subscriptions that you forgot to pay for, still doing admin by hand. Gives us some statistics from the research it did to drop in to make it more credible. And then a place to land it that the cost isn't just the monthly fees, it's the decision fatigue and the time lost stitching the tools together by hand, and the real tax of shiny object syndrome. And so we can go through all of these. They have similar stuff here. And we can come in, type our answers out, and create the full actual newsletter like you saw before. And if we go down to the bottom, we can see a frequently asked questions, which is another AEO item here. This format will allow any AIs to actually come in here and find the answers quickly, allowing you to be more discoverable by AI as well. Now, once we've fully written the full blog post, what about repurposing? Not a full rewrite, just a repurpose. We just want the same idea, shorter, and more like a text to a friend or a message to your email list. So if we come over to Claude Code, we can see I've asked it a simple question. I've asked it to explain to me how we take the full newsletter and adapt it to the other formats so we can see AI's actual thinking behind it. Firstly, the mental model, one idea to 3 expressions, not a chain. We have one canonical asset, the blog post or the newsletter, and the email and LinkedIn article are 2 different doorways that lead back to it. Blog is a full version. The other 2 exist to drive people to the blog. The newsletter develop command that we just did generates all 3 from a shared brief, but it can only do this after you've written a few and actually knows your voice. Writing a few before you actually allow AI to write it for you might be the better way to go if you really just don't want to write them. But what stays fixed across all 3? Firstly, it's the same question, phrased the way your ICP would type it. Then you have your core answer that would start with the AEO blurb and actually start to use your writing when adapting to email and LinkedIn. Obviously the CTA target and obviously the voice as well. But what flexes has a single row behind it. For the blog, someone is actively searching for that question on Google or ChatGPT. They want the complete authoritative answer that is long. And so the format is long, structured, and machine citable. For email somebody that actually trusts the owner, glancing at their inbox, and they don't want the essay. This needs to be short, personal, with one nudge and a link. And for LinkedIn, we want someone who's scrolling a feed, not knowing the business owner, to be stopped mid-scroll. It needs to be punchy, hook first, full substance, but soft pointer. You just have to internalize who is reading this right now and what do they want to do. And so we have the blog as the canonical version, the full thing. For blog to email, we do a compression and personalization decision. Basically, we are cutting almost everything, keep the exactly one idea, add the personal hook, drop the greeting, end on the link, and subject line under 50 characters. As you saw my email earlier, it's something short and easily readable, and if they want to see the full blog, it's there for them. Now, blog to LinkedIn, we're revoicing for the feed. Basically, we want to rewrite the opening first into a scroll stopper, so it's hook first. We want to keep that real teaching with 3 guardrails, the check-in mechanism, and the payoff. The LinkedIn readers will read the whole thing if the hook earns it. We want to strip the machinery because we don't need the AEO stuff, so there's no FAQ, there's no JSON stuff, and there's no images. We want to tighten the prose so it's punchier, more white space, easily for phone reading, and a softer pointer, not a hard CTA, which points us back to the original full blog. Ideally, you want this go in a comment because LinkedIn doesn't like the pointing off site in the main post. In one line, for email, a trust already exists. You want to be brief and personal to make them click. So you're compressing. For LinkedIn, there is no trust. So you got to earn the scroll with the hook, deliver real value, and point softly. So we're revoicing. But once we've written the first thing, we can ask AI to repurpose and we're ready for publishing. And so the last step is making the blog post real. This is publishing to your website, sending out that email, and posting to LinkedIn. And we can do this all very quickly. And I'm going to show you how Claude Code made the setup in my workspace to allow me to do it in a few button clicks. Moving over to Claude Code, we can see I asked Claude to explain our connections with Kit, my website, and how LinkedIn works. So for my website, we have a direct API connection. We have an application password from our WordPress admin that I created. What it does is it reads the original blog, converts it to HTML, passes the JSON schema block so it's untouched. So this is what makes the post AI searchable, uploads the featured image, creates category and tags if they don't exist, and then it posts the whole thing to my post section within my WordPress. And you can see the one quirk that it has. Cloudflare fronts my site, and so it found a workaround for me that I don't have to work through. And it allows me to also save things as draft or fully publish them to my site. But all I have to do is just tell Claude to publish the actual thing to my WordPress site. Next thing is Kit or ConvertKit, another direct API connection. We have a single API key in my env file. What it does is it wraps the newsletter into a branded HTML template, and this would be the email version of it. It makes 2 calls, does a post to broadcasts, and then a put to broadcasts, and a send at. The CTA link is set to the live blog URL from step 1. So this has to happen before the email gets sent out. Another safety feature, it just does a double check if I actually want to send it. So once I have the WordPress down, then it allows me to do my email, which was converted to make shorter based on the last section of this video. And thirdly is LinkedIn, which doesn't have a connection, so we have to prep it for manual posting. So what it does for me, since it has no usable API for publishing, there's no key that I can plug into this to allow me to publish it quicker, which is unfortunate. But I just tell Claude to write the article out as a prepared file with a URL as a placeholder as my little CTA there. And at publish time, all I got to do is tell Claude to do 1 and 2 while I do the LinkedIn posting. And so all I need to do is copy and paste into the newsletter I have on LinkedIn and click publish there and add a little LinkedIn post on top of it. But since it's prepared for me, it simply is a copy and paste. But there it is. The title of the blog post is the question. The answer sits right at the top for AEO and an FAQ at the bottom with a schema check also for AEO. The readers see this in their search and in their AI searches. All we do is start with one question, turn it into an angle, write a post guided by AI with different questions to answer within it. And we have our AI repurpose it into other stuff. So we have the live post, an email, and a LinkedIn article all ready to go with only a few minutes after running the actual canonical version, and then a quick publish on top of that. That's the whole system. 1 question in, 3 things out. You built it once and you can run it every week or every month. And the newsletter stops being the thing you skip. It becomes the thing that works while you're with your clients. If you got something out of this today, subscribe. I post regular AI videos on how to implement AI into your business. And 1 question before you go: when did your own list last hear from you? Be honest and drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching.